Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn how to cut your own hair. Now this is just a basic men's cut, but a lot of applications you could use this for, a lot of techniques on the fading, just how I cut my bangs and how it's worked for me. I just learned from watching YouTube videos just like this one that you're watching. So let's dive into it. So the only thing you're going to need is a nice set of clippers, which usually comes with the sideburn trimmers, and a set of scissors. A lot of times this comes within the package of these as well. And you're going to want to get a handy little mirror like this, because what I do is I'm looking at a mirror right there, and when I cut the back, and right now I'm going to cut the edges around there before I get all that hair all over me. But it's very helpful for cutting the back, and then checking to make sure that everything's looking good. And you may realize, well, my hair's not too crazy long to begin with. And that's the point. When you're cutting it yourself, it's nice. You get a cut every couple weeks, always looking with that fresh cut, looking good. So let's dive right into it. First thing, now I already did the sideburns a little earlier, but I want to hit those up with the trimmers. I'll get around the ears too. And then I start getting the back area. See what I'm doing here? I have the mirror in my left hand, the clippers in my right, and I'm going to get a view into this here with this mirror and trim this. See, with how the edges this is, you get a really nice line. And I'll keep working that till the line here is just about perfect. So you see there, the mirror allows me to get a view into that. You can see it's already looking straighter than it was, and I'm just going to clean that up. Another trick I want to show you when you are cutting the back. Now you can see here, I worked the lines a little more. Got them pretty straight all around. Make some touch-ups here. I see there's a little piece that wasn't quite as straight. But another area I work on is this side behind your ears, making sure that looks really clean. And this takes a little dexterity, and it's a little tough at first. But what you want to do is really line that up there. And then on this side, it gets even a little trickier, where I turn my whole arm around for a really clean look. And it's easier to do that now at the beginning before you have all that hair all over yourself. A lot of times that's what hairdressers do at the end, but they have more of the equipment to be able to do that. So I think that's a really key feature, and it gives it that really nice barbershop look. Okay, now we're getting to the fun stuff. I'm going to start with a number 2 trimmer, 2-inch trim, or 1/4 of an inch, number 2. And what I do here is go all the way up to the side, up to here. Now I'm going to fade in the 1 after that, and then the 1.5 to really fade it in, and then the 3 up here, and then 6 on top. But for right now, we're going to hit the sides with the number 2. And what I do is go all the way up, and I swoop towards the top here and I'm looking at this line. Kind of base it on where the edge of the skull kind of turns in. So I have the line of number 2 up to here, and then I fade it in after that and have number 6 on the top. So you see, even though my hair isn't too long, it's still cutting a good bit. Make sure to do that swoop at the top. We're going to blend it in better later, but this just helps. Okay, now what I like to do is I do all around the sides first, and then I get the back. So now I'm going to do this side. Up to similar area. Okay. See there, and I have the lines in my head that it's going up around here and then fading in after that. So this to have that nice consistent look. And then we're bringing out old Trusty here, the mirror. Same thing we did in the back when we were doing those edges. Flip that down. Fade that in. And when you get a good feel for this after a while, you know that in the back you're going up right to that same line all the way around. So sometimes what I'll do to be able to have my head down and get that even flow up, kind of hold with my hand here and just kind of push up to that point. This way I'm not having to use this quite as much. At least for that bottom part, but once I get up near where I faded in, I do the swoop, and it's a swooping motion like this. And anytime you're trying to fade or where you reach the top, swoop, swoop. Okay, now that that's looking good, I'm gonna change this. Now, instead of going down just one level to the 1.5, which I will fade in later, what I found that works well is I'll go all the way down to the 1. And what I do is I have that line go up to here, and then I fade it in with the 1.5 later. So you'll see what I mean. I go up, and then towards the end, I swoop. I go up, and towards the end, and I swoop. See how I do it on the sides here as well? And then the same thing here. I'm going to look at my mirror as I get to the back here, just to keep that same line, and I just do the same thing around the back. Keep going up, and then I swoop at the top. After you do this for a while too, you get a feel for where the kind of break points are and where you want to fade in. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. The natural kind of hairline goes to here. That's similar to on this side, so I got a little further than that. See, once I get the top of where the next fade's going to be, I do a little bit of a swoop. And I do a little bit of the fading in of that here at this step. Like towards the end, I'll just make sure there's a real clean transition to the next, to where I'm going to fade it next. Make sure to really double check this part. And sometimes what you'll see too is maybe there's a little patch I hear here. So I know exactly where that is, so I put my head down just like the barber does, and I hit that area. You gotta wait till it takes a little bit to get the feel for that, but after a few cuts, you'll be a pro, I promise. Well, can't promise, but I know if you keep working at it, you'll get better and better. Okay, so now that we got the one, and it looks a little scary at this point, you're like, uh-oh, man, that looks really weird, Brian. What's going on? I'll show you what's going on. Here's where the magic happens. Here's where you fade it in. I'll get closer so you get a good look at this. So, do the swoop here, and this is where the real fading comes in, where you get rid of those lines in between the fades. See that? You're really losing sight of the lines there. Compare this side now to this side. See those lines? Well, abracadabra, because here those lines disappear. See that? Faded them. Fade them out. Okay, now I'm going to hit up the back area. Okay, that's faded in there pretty good. So now I'm going to do, actually what I like to do is a 6 on top at first, the top extension, and then fade that into the top. Now, this is a unique method I do. It's worked for me. It's just something that you're going to be like, what? But it really works well. is I'll get my bangs out of the way here so I could just use the number 6 buzzer on top without worrying about the bangs. You know, no worries there. This way I won't cut my bangs by accident. And when I say bangs, I mean I never have them down, but just that area that kind of ties everything together when I comb them up with the buzzed area. So yeah, I'm gonna clip on the number 6 here. Well, use this handy brush first and brush that off. And now, I'm gonna take the 6 and bam, just really hit that area up good. And after this, we're gonna blend it in with the 3. But what I've found is I like to do the bigger buzzers first and then blend them in. That way it gives it that much more seamless look. And pro tip that I'll just toss out there as well. Once you're done with the cut, what I found helpful is then I'll take a shower after, and then after that I'll come back and do any little minor touch-ups, because let's face it, you're not a barber, you're cutting your hair yourself. You might see a little patch sticking out here. That little trim will help. No big deal. That's the nice thing. You're in total control of your look now. You got the power, man. You got your haircut rocking, new cut every couple weeks. You're ready to roll. All right, so you really want to make sure you get every area so you don't have little patches sticking out behind your bangs. And some of my methods are unique, but I found this way works for me. And that's the whole thing with this. It's an art and a science. After a while, you learn what works for you. So here, this is what I do after this. I comb my hair just how I usually like to style it. And then this way I get a view into, okay, I see this part sticking up a lot. I'll have to fade that in. So here, now I have the 3. And I do just a gentle fade there. This helps fade it, but it doesn't get you all the way there, at least with my hair. So I also do some cutting here. I see some areas here. A lot of times this part I see needs a little trimming to look, fade in there a little better. But you see how seamless that starts to make it look. And the back by my hairline here, I'll make sure the back part's faded in as well. Then what I'll do is just take another quick peek at the bangs. I see, some sticking up over here. I do some kind of light trimming and fade it down. And I like cutting it while I have it styled like I like, because This way I could get a better feel for how it's actually going to look. Kind of custom cut areas around where the part is that I usually have. And that's just about it. Pretty quick and easy, as you can see. You can't really, like the fade lines, you can't really see. They fade in really nicely. And hey, just as good as a cut you'd get from any general place you go. It helps you save money, first of all, saving the time of going to places. And it's just something I learned during COVID, and I'm glad to share with you. Like I said, after this, I'm going to clean up some parts I see. I didn't hit the 2 as much as I'd have liked here. Some other touch-ups. And then after the shower, I always like to take a look and see how it's hanging naturally and just kind of cut it where I need to. But overall, that's it. Not too bad. Just takes a little practice and you'll be a pro in no time.